Jumping on here with my Facebook Live. For those who are joining me later on YouTube, I'm Amy Taylor with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Let me see if I can take care of that glare in these glasses a little bit. Here to share some quick ideas with Stampin' Spots and our most recent paper pumpkin kit. And oh my goodness, I should have remembered. I believe it's Lakeside Retreat. Yes, from the April 2026 kit that shipped out this past month. Today is May 1st. I'm going to not take too terrible long. I'm going to go ahead and get going here, and I'm going to get some ideas shared with you. So it is an adorable kit, and I should have grabbed all the samples I've done already. If you've not seen it, actually, let me just go grab them. It's helpful to actually see what I'm talking about. So the Lakeside Retreat, there were a few of them. And I had done mine all with either thanks or happy birthday because I only have one father figure to still send cards to, my husbands and whatnot as well. But they're beautiful cards to pick up, really great from an upcoming kit that's our suite of products. It's going to be available here this next Tuesday when our May to August catalog launches. Another beautiful card. And the last of them. And I pulled out an old paper pumpkin kit. Get my camera to focus in a little better here. To add we just wanted to say with the happy birthday stamp that comes in the kit. But beautiful imagery, beautiful artwork, some stamping that you get to do beyond the greetings. So that's the kit. And what I was working on are some paper pumpkin thank you notes, because I send thank you notes to all of my subscribers. I just stamped on a scrap piece of paper because they are no longer including the little sheet to stick in, and this is how I store mine in just clear envelopes. So just a square or rectangle of printer paper, and then before you pull off anything, I just pull the lighter of the two cellophanes off, ink it up and push it down and put a big block on top of it. It makes my own. You can cut it off your instructions, that's also an option. But we're going to use the stamps, at least a few of them. And I want to share with you, let's see if I brought it over here. I did not bring it over here. We'll have to go grab it too. So I'm going to use the add-on dies. They're called Wonderful Scenes dies, and they're meant to coordinate with, I believe, if it was last month or not, it's definitely meant for the April, May, and I think maybe June kits. I'd have to double check, but I know definitely the April and the May kit. So I'm going to use the sign and a piece of pecan pie cardstock. So I'm just going to cut this piece at, well, let's just tell you, big enough to cut it 3 1/4 by about 2 1/4. And then I'm going to use a little bit of masking Post-it tape. Can't think of anything. You could use our masking tape as well, or our masking paper from the catalog. So, and then I'm going to get out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And this is just a piece of gripper. You can buy this in the rolls, meant for shelf lining and whatnot. It does a great job of keeping your mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm guessing if you needed it for the large one. the full size, you could use it for that as well. So I'm just going to get my plates ready. I'm going to use number 1, and then I need 2 cutting plates that are number 2s. I'm going to line up, put it in here, kind of at an angle, and I'm offsetting so that I've got a gap in between them. And then I'm going to run them through. But I find that having that little bit of grip through here, as I tell you it's going to work, and then it doesn't want to go. I think I've got my, yep, I've got my piece too far up. Let's get in there. Try again. Set. Get moving through. Hope you're having a great Friday, the start of May. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. Our retiring process is still in full swing, and those items that are in the last chance category of our catalogs are available while supplies last. There is not necessarily a cutoff date for them as they're used to be. They're just available until they aren't. Grab this and get pieces out of the way. Okay, and then we don't need my machine in here anymore, so we'll get all that stuff kind of out of the way. And I like using my Take Your Pick tool and the Pokey tool, oh goodness, now I'm not going to even tell you what that is. I just call it the Pokey tool. Paper piercer. Some days. Okay, so it gives you a really nice embossed, looks like wood for the sign, which I think is so awesome. Then there's butterflies and flowers and some other things with another cursive die cut word that says wonderful. We're not going to use those right now. And I'm going to do a couple different ones. And then I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and that's for my sign. That's 1 5/8 by about 1 3/4. Yes, by about 1 3/4. And so what I'm using is just pieces of paper from our beautiful gallery designer series papers that are 6 by 6, and I've cut this down to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 to be able to be layered onto a piece of coordinating cardstock. This is early espresso, and I cut it just a little bigger, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And so that piece we're going to just set aside. We're going to work on this piece first. And my tip, and I'm going to be using for this particular card, I'm going to use some Mossy Meadow ink, and I'm using a spot. Spots are what come in our kit. I'm going to come bring my camera down just a little bit here. See if it focuses in just a little better. They are what come in the Paper Pumpkin kits. You can also purchase them in a group. I believe it's a pack of 6, and they're varying. Those colors will change a little bit come the new catalog. But you can also create your own, because we sell uninked spots, and you can purchase ink refills and make your own. So they're really a handy little stamp. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make this a birthday card. So I'm going to grab out, you could make it a Father's Day card and have the same technique. Where did I throw my stamps? Oh, they're underneath. Don't you love it when you do stuff like that? All right, hit them underneath the dies. So I'm going to grab out that birthday greeting. It just says happy birthday. I'm going to line it onto my block. And I have here a C block. D block is what comes with your kit, the first kit that you subscribe to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my spot, and I'm going to only ink the happy. And so I'm going to be careful to come just those corners of the spot. And because we aren't selling Stampin' Right markers anymore, this is a great tool. And honestly, I think it inks better than the markers did anyway. but it allows you to eliminate portions of your stamp. So I'm going to stamp happy, and I'm going to line it up in the center as best I can factor in. And if I did a good job, then I've only inked happy. And then I'm going to come and grab, see if I can get it to come a little closer. Having some issues with my camera not zooming in. So then I'm going to come and grab just the happy again, because I want it to fill in that space. I'm going to come just a little lower because I can see it a little better. Okay, so I have happy, happy, and then I will stamp the entire greeting with my spot. And again, this is the Mossy Meadow spots. I've had a number of kits that have come with a Mossy Meadow spot. And then grab. So I should end up with happy, happy birthday. And then I can group up and line up my sign. And I'm just going to take and do, see if I can get my little, last time I tried using it, it didn't want to give me any. So I'm just going to put a little line. This is just a small fine tip glue. I've added a multi-purpose liquid glue into it. And I just want enough glue on here. Hopefully I'm not going to get a good blob coming out. I just want enough to kind of hold my sign while I'm, hopefully that's enough. It's barely giving me any glue. So we may use the other next round here. So I'm going to then line up my birthday greeting on the inside, and I want it just to be as centered as possible. Okay, so let's see here. Get it all kind of lined up, and I've got just enough wiggle that I can kind of adjust and keep the greeting within the confines of that die. So this is from the add-on kit, and then the stamps that come in the kit. And then I'm going to use, again, that beautiful gallery paper, and I want to add a few things. So I'm going to kind of line up where I want my sign, because I thought it looked kind of cute sitting in the field. And so I'm going to lay it here. I come just a little lower, perhaps. I don't know if I want to go lower or higher. Maybe higher, so it doesn't look quite so weird. I don't know. And then I'm not going to put it down yet. I want to use the stamps again. There are those birds that fly, and there's also some grass. So I'm going to grab out a couple more blocks just so I can be adding my birds. Okay, and again, I'm just going to use the spots that come in our kits. And I want to have some birds flying over in this upper right portion. So I'm just going to kind of angle them into the sky. I love some of these designer papers that have all the scenes, because I think they do all the work for us. Let me lift it up a little higher so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to add some grasses over here. There will be my stein's going to go in front of it, and I may stick a couple more over on this other side. So let me grab one more block, and I'm going to grab those grasses. And these are the stamps that come in the kit. I try every month when I send thank you notes to use things, the stamps specifically, that come in that month's kit, just for some different ideas, because there's so much you can do with our stamps, leftovers from our kit. So I'm just going to come and put these on the other, kind of where I want that sign to go. So I'm going to kind of just do a couple doubles because I'm going to put my sign kind of right into that, which I think is kind of cool. And then I'm going to add a couple more amongst all of this. I'm going to come a little more forward. And then I'm going to come and stamp off a couple times just so that it looks like they're in the background. And I'm going to set those out of the way. So then we can go ahead and layer onto our coordinating cardstock. So just a little bit of Stampin' Seal. You could use multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to line up that beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper just to have this pop off the page just ever so slightly. Okay, and I've got a piece of basic beige cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it over, grab out my bone folder, get a nice crisp edge. And then this piece is going down directly to the cardstock. It's a very simple card, but you could make a lot of note cards using your stamps that came in that April kit. And I did not check earlier to see if refill kits were still available. Refills, if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, and mind you, that is also the case with the add-on dies. You have to be a subscriber, and there are links in my description of my Facebook page as well as in my YouTube links for you to be able to sign up if you would like to receive kind of a surprise kit in the mail each month. You control when it comes and when it doesn't come, and it's a great option. I've been getting them since they came out. So I'm going to put some mini dimensionals on the back side of my sign, just a little bit to pop it up off of the base of my cardstock on the front, and I'm going to add a few more around that sign, like so. I'm going to take all those covers off. I could add another one in here if I wanted, but I think there's enough. Okay. And you find little pieces of dimensional backing all over the place, sometimes on the dog's nose. All right, so then I'm going to line up my sign up here. And I kind of just like how it lines here, like so. And then I've got a greeting for the inside. I don't have one I've picked out. I need to go look for. I could use the Older, Wiser, Better, but from the kit, and that is an option. But I think I'm just going to, for right now anyway, I'm just going to stick a grass on one side. And I'll clean those here after a little bit. So then I'll put my greeting on the inside when I'm ready. Sometimes I wait to make sure I know what I want to say. Maybe you're that way as well. Tell me who all you give birthday cards to in the comments. I would love to hear. Is it just family? Do you only give it to select people? Do you make your own? Do you make a lot ahead of time in the beginning of the year? So that was the first idea I had, which I think is really pretty. And then I've got the same idea, and I already cut my sign for the second card. This is another piece out of that same pack of paper with a piece of Lost Lagoon as the background. And so I'm going to go ahead and going to go ahead and just attach that to my backer. We'll go ahead and do 2 separate cards just to show you just how different it looks with all the different pieces in this paper. There are lots of different scenes, and this as of this morning, still available. It is not listed. And you know what? I need to grab cleaner because I did not do that. So grab mint. Apologize for all the delay, but you need clean stamps when you're changing, and I would need to clean it anyway, because if you don't clean that stamp, you're not going to get the same effect with a different go at it. So you clean that happy birthday. And again, you could do the same thing with Happy Father's Day. It could say Happy, Happy Father's Day, though I do believe the Father's Day image really stamps pretty well. And then I like to double check with my ink that everything looks good before I go stamping again. So I'm going to come again, just kind of share with you, taking out that corner of the Stampin' spot, and then just making sure I don't go into birthday when I'm inking that up. And then because these are photopolymer, you can see on the other side how well you've inked. And so I'm going to come in the middle, get happy. Let's see how well we did. Pretty good. And I'm going to come back in. Do it again. Let's see if we can come down just a little further to my space. And see if we can't focus in just a little better here. Maybe. Seems to be. I apologize for that. Really not sure. We're going to try, but oh my. Just not doing, I do great up front. So we're going to come here again. I'm hoping it's better in my recording. All right. And then ink up the whole thing so that it says Happy Birthday. And just a great way to use your spots just a little differently. Okay, so cover that up so it's not an issue. And then again, we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of the sign just so that I have enough to hold it. So I don't need a lot. Certainly don't want to squeeze a ton of glue out. And I find it's helpful for me to kind of come in this way because I want to make sure I see it on the front side. Keeping everything lined up. So I think that's pretty good. And then again, we're going to put some dimensionals on the back side. And I know I've got some more. Are those the little ones? Yes. So just going to come in, put some along the sign. And then just do a few. They're just small enough to be in the post of this without showing on the other side. All right. At least I think so. Well, that one not. And the nice thing is you get a little bit of wiggle to get them off. All right, so then I'll pull those backs off. Again, you'll find them everywhere. You'll have to tell me if you've done that, what was the most unique place you ever found a Stampin' Dimensional. If you've been doing rubber stamping very long, and specifically with Stampin' Up, you know exactly what I'm referring to. So before I put that down, let's see, I'm not going to put grass on this one. I think I'm only going to put the birds. So and I kind of liked having it. It covers up some of that cabin, but I liked it along this lower edge. So I'm going to come up, make sure I'm straight. Okay. And then I'm going to grab those birds and I'm going to stamp them in the same Lost Lagoon spot, just up here above that cabin. Isn't that cool? I just think it just changes the look just slightly and gives me some great masculine cards. And so I always struggle to find ideas for masculine cards. Okay, so then we'll add this to the front. And in the front of my card, just slightly, super quick. You could get so many out of this paper stack. And then for the inside of this card, I'm just going to use the Lost Lagoon and stamp those birds one more time. And I think I'm going to put them here, and then I'm going to lift them up and without re-inking so that it looks like some have kind of started to fly off. And I will put that on the inside of my card, waiting for the greeting that I want later. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera over. I do want to point out that Stampin' Up! Has a sale that's going to start tomorrow on May 2nd. It's a 24-hour sale, so it'll begin just before midnight tonight in the United States. And it's a 20% off of select memory keeping products. They're not telling us exactly what those are, but get on the website. You can go to my orderings page, justalittleink.stampinup.net, and order. It is a 24-hour sale. Also, keep in mind that the catalog goes live on May the 5th, which is Tuesday. It's a nice Cinco de Mayo kind of surprise. And so wonderful products in that catalog. Demonstrators have been ordering for the last month. Also, there is a join special that's starting on the 5th and it'll go through May. Any questions, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think about this project and if you're going to try any of those tips with the Stampin' Spots. And until next time, happy stamping.